We will be going over protons, neutrons, and electrons. This also would entail the use of this worksheet that you will be given. Here you will see a typical square from the periodic table. On the periodic table, there are certain pieces of information that are pertinent to that particular element within the periodic table. In this particular example, there are 3 pieces of information within this block. You have the number 2, which notates the atomic number. We have He, which is the chemical or atomic symbol. And then we have 4.00, and that was going to be the atomic mass. Now, you may ask yourself, that worksheet was nothing but a chart. How am I to get any of that information by just looking at my periodic table? Well, if one looks at the periodic table that you are given for chemistry, it will be this one here. You'll notice that all of this same information is located there. But if you do not have your periodic table and there's only pieces of information given, you can find out what number of protons, neutrons, electrons, and even your atomic mass is. So let's take a look at some of this information. This number here, that's going to be your atomic number. What is very interesting about the atomic number, that also is your number of protons for a particular element. What is also just as interesting, the number of protons you have is also the number of electrons you have for that particular element. So in just this one element or one square, we've been able to determine the number of protons and electrons within this particular element. Now, we are left with trying to figure out what is the number of neutrons for this particular element. Well, neutrons are found with this simple equation. It will be your mass number minus your number of protons. So for this particular element, we have a mass of 4.00. We have an atomic number of 2, which also means we have 2 protons, which would leave us with the number 2. So there are 2 neutrons for this particular element. So let's take a look at one more example. We're going to have Br is our symbol. Our atomic number is 35. And according to our periodic table, that mass is going to be 81. So this is going to be our new element that we're going to take a look at. So we're needing to find out the atomic number, number of protons, number of electrons, and the number of neutrons, and then our mass number. Some of this information we already have. So our atomic number is going to be 35. Since we know our atomic number, our protons and electrons are going to all equal the same. We can fill those in. And in this particular case, we know that the mass number for this particular element is 81. And if we are to go by the same equation as before, we take our mass number and subtract our number of protons. So in this case, we would take the number 81 and subtract 35. leaving us with 46 neutrons.